Hello, welcome to the Take 5 Vintage Vibes Creative playlist today. Our hosts are Funky Junk by Christy and Jeannie's Palette by Jeannie. And so we're going to do a jar today. So we're doing vintage. We're going to go ahead and paint this jar up. I'm going to put our print right here out of the way so that we don't get any paint on it. Got one for each side. And this was a kraut jar that I saved. I'm going to paint the top as well. So I went ahead and put a coat, 2 coats on the bottom. And before I ever paint, I take alcohol wipes and wipe it off. Make sure that you've got all of those fingerprints and the oils from your hands and all of that off. Let's go ahead and paint the top and let it be sitting, and we'll paint our jar up. So I decided today I would do the black one. So these are not hard to do, and you're going to be using some coffee grunge on there, and I will tell y'all what's in it. So let's get that kind of finished up here. If I can hold on to it. We'll go ahead and put 1 coat on that and let that be sitting. And we're going to go ahead and be painting our jar. So I'm going to go ahead and get a coat on here, and I'm just using a sponge brush. It seems to do better than a regular brush to get your paint on there. And black is very messy, so just be sure. I do wear gloves sometimes. I do have my gloves out because it does get all over the place with black. So this is Paint Pixie Licorice. I like the Paint Pixie paint. It goes on well, and you usually always need a second coat on your jars, even if you're going to grunge them up. The paint just kind of soaks in. You can go ahead and put a base coat if you want. I just put a little bit of Mod Podge on there, but you could put some primer on there if you want to, give it an extra adhesion. And I'm going to go ahead and give that a dry and then turn it over and do the other side. I hope that you'll watch all of our friends today in the playlist, and you can find that playlist in my description. And those will all be on YouTube on August 22nd, premiering at 5 p.m. Let's go ahead and get our top done. And I usually just put it on my hand to paint it. Just makes it a little easier. We'll go ahead and get that top before and get it good and dry before we put our second coat. You definitely want it good and dry, or it's going to pull your paint off. Jars are not hard, and once I put that coffee stain on there, that helps give it a seal as well, surface on it. Let me get right in here. There's a couple of places right here I missed. Let's go ahead and put some paint in that, let that get good and dry. Okay, I'm going to dry that up. You're going to find some places sometimes, just go back over it with your second coat. Let's go ahead and dry that top as well. Paint dries pretty quickly. Some people use different kinds of paint. The chalk paint to me is the best to use on these jars. It seems to go on well, dries quickly. And that's what I prefer to use. Okay, I think we got that dried up. Now we're ready for our second coat. I'm going to go ahead and put a coat on our top. It's going to need 2 coats as well. It is a little warm. Remember, it is metal, so it does get a little warm. And that could go ahead and be drying while we're working on our jar. And we'll just put it right up there. Okay, we're going to start our second coat. Remember, we already have a second coat on the bottom, so I'm just going to be doing the sides. And this does soak up the paint, in case you're wondering, it does. But it's going to look cute when we get through. Give it a good dry again. Okay. Now, it's not going to be in the way of our labels, so we're going to get this good and dry. It does kind of get hot on your hands, so just be aware of that. As you're drying, you may want to just put it back down so that you don't burn yourself. These heat tools get really, really hot, and this one gets pretty hot to be so small. We want it good and dry before we put our label on. Okay, that feels pretty dry. Dry. So let's get our prints. Let me make sure I do not have paint on my hands before we put them on here. Alright, the first print that we're going to use is going to be this one here. And this is a sheet with some French words. So I did it in a 5x7. I shrunk it down to a 5x7 and just tore off some of the sides to put it on our jar. Now I'm going to look, I may take a little bit more off the top here. And I'm just using my fingers to tear it. This is rice paper. Just keep your finger right along as you tear to make sure that you don't tear it too much. Okay? Let's go ahead and put it right here on this side, and I'm going to put something against here. I will see a little bit more paint. Let's just put our paint. We're going to go ahead and put this on, and we're going to use some Mod Podge. And this is the multi. You can grab that from my link tree on my Amazon shop if you'd like. I'm just using a little sponge, and this is going to go, let's see if we've got plenty of room here. I believe we do. You got a little bit of a bump right there in your jar. That's okay, because we can still put it on there. It doesn't have to lay perfectly straight because it's vintage, and you know that they wrinkle. Let's get a little bit more Mod Podge, not quite enough. You need a lot for this. You just want to give it a good adhesion. And if some Mod Podge gets over the side, this is a matte Mod Podge that does dry actually matte. So we should be fine with that. We're going to start it on this side. Make sure that we've got plenty. We can always put more. I'm going to put it just like that. I'm going to move it down just a little bit toward the bottom. There we go. I'll put it just like that. Must have been some paint right there. And I'm just tapping my edges. Okay. We're going to going to take our sandwich bag. And this is what I like to do when I'm not ironing it. I like to press it down. The heat from your hand is going to help make that stay on there. All right. And that's what we've got on this side. I like it. Looks good. You got a couple little bumps in your jar, but that's still going to look fine. Isn't that cute? I'm going to put one on the other side. So let's dry this up just a little bit so that when we lay it down, it doesn't stick to our paper and come up. Now you can just leave one on here. You could put this one, put a fall one on the back. Whatever you decide to do. I think I'm just going to do the one today. I was going to put one on the other side, and then I thought, I think I'm just going to do, I've got a crow, and I think I'll put a crow on the other side. I've got a crow print, and I think I'll wait and put that on the other side because I think that will really be cute so that you can turn it around for the fall. So I'm just going to do this one right now. Then we can come back and do the other one. And I will touch up any paint that I see. Okay, now we're going to use our coffee grunge. I'm going to go ahead and give it a stir. This is 1 cup of lukewarm, almost hot water, a half cup of instant coffee. Make sure it's instant. It has to be instant to dissolve. And then you see this gooiness here? That's the cinnamon that settles on the bottom, and that is 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. Hold on, let me move that out of our way. And 2 tablespoons of imitation vanilla. You do not need real vanilla. It costs a lot more. Just use some imitation. It's fine. I'm going to take a little bit of this grunge off the spoon, and I'm going to put just a little bit of grunge right up in here. A little bit right there on the side of our... I like to get a little bit of that grunginess out. So you just dig down to the very bottom. Get a little bit of that thick, see how thick it is? That's the grunge, and I just like a little bit of that. So I like to put a little bit of that on the side, kind of pounce it on. So I like a little bit of that extra grunge sometimes. And that's just going to give you a little bit of that on the sides. You can also put some extra cinnamon on your print. So now I'm going to take it. Let me get a paper towel here because it does kind of make a mess. Let's give it another little stir. You can also shake it. I stir it when I open it, even if I shake it. So that was 1 cup of lukewarm water, half cup of instant coffee, 2 tablespoons of vanilla, and 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, pumpkin spice, whatever you like. If you don't like cinnamon, try another spice. Pumpkin spice, allspice, whatever that you would like to do. Now we're going to paint all the way on our print. And yes, it's going to look dark, but it's going to lighten up as it dries. I'm just putting a light coat on there. Just a light coat. Okay? And then I'm going to take a little bit, get down in the bottom, get a little bit more of that grunge. Because your cinnamon doesn't actually dissolve. Your vanilla will, but your cinnamon does not. And there's always this grungy goodness on the very bottom. Just a good grungy, excuse me, y'all. Excuse me. Okay, let's see if I can get down in there. Oh, I got a little bit of that grunge. So I just used one of these soft brushes, and I just kind of grunge it up a little bit on the edge. I also like to put a little extra on the sides of some pumpkin spice. So you don't have to do this if you don't like it. I like a little extra, and I just use an old container that I have and just put it in there. After this uses up, I just refill it. And this is just some pumpkin spice. Just a little pumpkin spice. That's just going to give it a little bit more of a grunge. A little bit more. You can also pat it in a little bit if you want to. You don't have to use this much if you don't want to. Now let's take a little bit of our grunge and let's go around here, the top. We can leave our jar black, or you can go all the way around it with the coffee grunge. I'm going to go all the way around mine. This is going to give it an extra little seal. So I'm just using it all the way around. You don't have to. This is going to just give it an extra little more of a vintage look. And I did run a little bit on my print, and I'm just going back around and just patting that back down. Just use your brush, get it back off. Now I see a couple of places that didn't take as well on here, so I'm just going to add a little more. And it's okay, it does not have to all be perfect. It's a vintage label, so it should look vintage. When this dries, this is going to be so pretty. Let's put a little bit on our top as well, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of our pumpkin spice on there too. And then you can take it, you can dab it off if you want to, or you can just leave it on there. Totally how you want it. And sometimes I just put a little extra on there, just kind of pat it a little bit. That pats it down just a little bit. Gives it a little bit of a pat, and then you can put a little more if you want to. It's just going to kind of give it some texture. Just like that. Okay, we're going to dry this up because I do want to put a ribbon on here. So this lasts you a long time. I do use still water in mine, and sometimes I forget and leave it out, and that way I don't have to worry about it having mold in it. But I would keep it in the refrigerator. You can keep it out for a little while, but then I would stick it in the refrigerator just so you guarantee yourself you don't have mold. This is going to be our jar today. I hope that y'all enjoyed our jar. And these are just jars that you have recycled. And if you don't have jars, peanut butter jars are great. The other jar I have was a peanut butter jar. So here's my peanut butter jar. This is Smucker's peanut butter, and it has the cute little checked on the top of that. And I'll probably do that one in orange. I'm just drying this a little bit so that we can put our ribbon on there. You can grunge your material for your ribbon. I've just got some black material that I'll probably put a little extra grunge on there. So this is from Jubilee Fabrics, and I'm just going to take my Fabri-Tac and I'm just going to put just a piece around it. Let's see, this one looks a little smaller on this side. So I'm just going to start around the back and put the tacky glue right here. So it kind of covers up those ridges, but I want to have room to stick my jar back on. Sometimes your jar fits very tight once you do that. So it's good to kind of put it down just a little bit, not right in those first grooves. I think that's cute with just the ribbon on it. And we want to make sure we clean this off. Let's see if our top will fit yours. We just like to give you some ideas and hope that we inspire you to go and do your own. We would love to know if you're going to do that. In the comments, make sure that you subscribe, leave me a heart and a comment. I would appreciate that. And let me know if you're going to make one or if you've made some. I think I am going to put that little bow right there. I think that'll just kind of set that off a little bit. I didn't really like that one, y'all, so just bear with me. I wasn't liking the way that looks, so I'm going to do it over. And let's see if we can get it a little bit more like what I want. Okay, there we go. So you also could do just a any kind of bow that you want. Sometimes it just takes a minute to kind of get it where you want. All right, let's trim that off. Let's get our sewing scissors. Y'all know that other wasn't working. Let's cut it up at an angle. Let's cut this side up at an angle. And this is just a quick idea that you can do yourself and make you a cute jar. And I'm just going to kind of put it right here on the corner. You can also decorate the top of your jar. So if you want to decorate the top of your jar and put some things on it, you can do that as well. For fall, I like to put some pumpkins and things on there. This one definitely will work. Now that's just simple creating, and I will get that top on once that dries really well. See how cute? Just simple, and then I think I will put something fallish on the back, and that way you can turn it the other direction as well. So I hope that y'all enjoyed that today. Be sure and watch our entire playlist, and thank you again, Christy and Jeannie, for having me. I enjoyed being here. Y'all have a wonderful, blessed rest of the day. Thank you.